All right, we're back. Thank you, Jake. I heard the wise saying he missed me. We're going to talk about losing. What can you get from losing? So I feel like I start all my videos with saying I'm too busy. But I also talk about how I like to space out videos as, let's see, not new sets, but testing Israel's rebellion. I'm working on the set after that as well, and Roots was revealed. Just a lot of elder items going on in the background, and we want to share everything with you, but we want to make sure it's at a good spot. So a lot of work going on in the background, and I've been very busy testing the next set. I'm having a blast, and then I like to also test one art, one territory class. Signed up for the Lackey Grand Prix to where I get to throw my hat in the ring on testing. So I stay busy, and this is, as of right now, I also have this deck in physical form, and we'll talk about that in a second too. This is one of my tournament decks, so I guess I'm just throwing it out there, but the topic today is the art of losing. I've really been wanting to talk about this. I've been losing. I love losing. I don't like losing at nationals. I love losing other than that. Okay, well, I don't love losing. I am fine with losing outside of nationals. Anytime I've done well at nationals, I've lost tournaments leading up to it. There's been one year where I went just through the gauntlet, like states, regionals, nationals. I had a timed win against Justin at a regionals and a timed loss against Jaden at nationals, and all the rest of my wins were states, regionals, and nationals were wins. That's the only time, and I still time loss and had a timed win, and I wasn't playing a ton of games either. So there's never been a time. Sorry, that sounded gloaty. I didn't mean it that way. I'm saying it's very, very rare for you to go through tournaments and just win, and then get to nationals and do it. You need to lose. You need to see what beats you, whether defensively or offensively, weird tricks, things to incorporate in your deck, what stops your deck, what hinders your offense, what gets through your defense. Myself, I've said this for years about losing at states and regionals as long as I win at nationals. Brian Jones, a former top player who's, in my opinion, going to be right back into a top player. I think he is a dark horse this year at nationals in Type 1. I think there's a few of them, but just because people don't remember, he plays a very clean game when he's at nationals. He knows his deck. He plays a clean game. He tries to play the best of the best. So Brian and I have always talked about this and had a similar mindset, if not the same mindset. Yeah, it's cool to win state and regionals, but none of that matters. You don't go to, our community isn't this massive thing where the regional winners are coming up and it's like, whoa, they won at that regional, or they won 2 or 3 states. At one point we were kind of there. I still do, but I used to look at all the state winners in different categories and say, I've reached out to people, hey, you going in hats? I saw you won your state and I haven't played you before. That's just me. I like relationships and maintaining and building relationships. So when it comes to losing, I got to get a camera. I always talk with my hands and I'm looking at you all. So maybe I do that. So I've lost some games lately, and I just played Jeremy with a different, honestly, completely different deck than what I'm showing right now. And I really liked it. That deck the idea of that came from a game I had against Noah Wagenknecht. And Noah's doing this awesome thing. I won't reveal it because he's playing it in the Grand Prix. He's doing this awesome thing, and really what I saw, there's a couple things I wanted to look at, and I was like, man, Joshua the Conqueror, there you go, another Brian Jones reference. Joshua the Conqueror is really good still. I love King Jehu. King Jehu is still really good. and I can go like David to Joshua to Jehu, and then I can go to anyone, which I've always talked about that throughout the year. But it's important because if I go David to Jehu to anyone, it can be the Bethany trio. And now I just did Jehu with sword, Joshua the Conqueror. You've had to get rid of all sorts of stuff. And then I go Bethany trio. You got to reserve another card from your hand, and I negate evil cards. Even if you play Roman destroys Jerusalem with Saul, I still have 10-11 David in battle, who through the Bethany trio negated evil cards. So it was really good. I tend to get in my own way. Remember, I'm a type 2 player at heart. I tend to get in my own way in my ideas and creativity and trying to think outside the box. And I like to put different decks out there and try different things. But sometimes you just need to lose and realize you're doing too much, and kind of hone in on what you are trying to do. And I've said that exact same thing in videos of know what you're doing in your deck and do it really well. Now that doesn't mean you have one win con, but that does mean know your attacks, know what stops your attacks, and that's going to come through either losing. And that doesn't even mean losing the game, losing the battle. Agar the Wise on Discord was saying that he had a great point. You want to maximize your odds to winning the battle, because it is a card game. There's still a chance. I was playing Jeremy. He attacked. I had nothing in my reserve that was going to block, but I knew I was going to need a dominant. I had low cards in my deck, and I knew I still had 2 dominants that I needed one of. So instead of going Saul to my reserve to potentially get something, I did Saul draw 2, and I got the dominant I needed. Now, I had too many misplays in that game, and Jeremy won. You deserve to lose when you make misplays. And once again, I am not going to learn. I've talked about this topic specifically before in the past. I'm not going to learn anything if I do a misplay and take it back. I'm going to learn something if I miss a counter, miss a trigger, miss upkeep, throw down a card real quick and go to my prep phase, or push a character out there and then say, oh, can I take that back? I'm not going to learn anything. I'm like, oh, well, I did it. That sucks. I need to remember that. I was just playing J.K. Powell the other week, and he was like, I'm having a tough time remembering upkeep. And I was like, put something on your card. I don't mean like a quarter. I mean like I carry chapstick. Like, put chapstick on your card. When I physically play games, what I started doing this year, because now there's a lot of upkeep, what I physically do, once again, I wish I had a camera. Imagine your deck is out there, and you have Imitate, Lost Soul, and you have Good Seed. Let's just stick to this. You have a 3 Woes, a Good Seed, and an Imitate out there. Hey, if anyone has an alternate border Imitate they want to sell, if they want to trade it, let me know. I don't have that. Very hard to get. So I have 3 upkeeps. 1, I need to know the upkeeps in my deck. I have to know them. So that way I train my brain to where I see these cards, I know I have to do something in the upkeep. So as soon as I draw, I do my stars, I go to upkeep. So now what I started doing is I draw, I'll look for stars, and I'll start putting my fingers on my cards. I'll just do a real quick ting, 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 ting. I will physically touch my cards. And now I'm talking seconds, to where my eyes, I'm touching every card, my eyes are looking at it, and I say upkeep. That is building my habits to where I know. Because once again, I play type 2, there's all sorts of stuff on the table. And when you have a bunch of stuff doing upkeep, then it gets pretty crazy. So if you're having trouble with upkeep, you can't remember triggers, start touching your cards. It helps. It's weird. Other triggers, I missed a Judas trigger against Jeremy. Lose. And that's the reason you're going to lose. You're not going to forget. I promise you that. So when it comes to building decks, and you have this deck, you're all excited, You play it and you get spanked. Some people will just be like, "Well, that goes in the trash." Like I scrapped that idea or whatever. And then you have some people that are like, "Okay, let's edit my deck. Let's add some stuff here." I'll say Chad's really good at that too. Derek Torado, they'll play the same deck, and when they lose, it's like, okay, well, why did I lose? So I had a David, Joshua, Jehu, Bethany trio with some disciples, and I was trying to do a lot, and there was a couple attacks where Jeremy was able to block and just get me off a couple things I wanted. And then when I was seeing there, it's like, man, I really want, one of my favorite cards is Right On. Gabe knows that. One of my favorite cards. So when I'm playing Jeremy and he has Right On, now he misplayed it, but he had Right On, and he really, he should have just had a Lost Soul on that battle. I'm realizing, I was like, man, I haven't been playing Right On in my Disciples when I preach about it. The Resurrection is one of the better dominants in the game. It's also not seeing as much play as I think it should. And I've been using Shipwreck because I want to make sure my Choose the Hero stuff works and people are throwing down Patmos and stuff. But as good as Shipwreck is, the attacking in the battle phase and winning Lost Souls is how you win this game. And Dominants are the strongest card type, period. So I was getting cute, and I was trying to almost do too much in my decks. And you need to remember, Dominants are the best cards in the game. Let's use them right. So when I'm going through and I see, you know what, like, and I was also talking to Derek Trotto about this too. Like, he has a couple, like, the CBN heroes. So if I can come out with Simon to Peter, so I'm not worried about Christian Martyr. So that's a CBN band. I come out with Simon. You block. I drop Right On in a by the number, or I'm sorry, in a CBN enhancement. So, and depending on which one I play, you block me with protection. I just have a CBN convert. Like I can convert all your Herods. I can convert all your Romans, except Terrifying Beast. Look at the top defenses played. I can convert all your Phillies, your Pharisees, whatever. Cannot be negated, and you don't get to do anything. I get to play first, and it's CBN. And you would have to drop Christian Martyr and Falling Away. And then I have good seed to add to battle, and I still have good gospel enhancements, cannot be negated. It's not played on him. So I gain CBN. That's game changing. If you put down Pontius Pilate and Saul, you block me with someone, or you block me with Saul, that's what everyone does right now. They block with Saul and think they're invincible. And then boom, you're all converted. And now it's like, oh, well, I can still bounce my evil characters. Yeah, you have to do a bounce all. You bounce all your heroes and you get them back, but that's something you have to do, and I already got the Lost Soul. So it's just little attacks. I was trying to be cute with my dominants instead of being like, no, dominants are the best in the game. Let's couple them with to create the strongest attacks that really can't be blocked. You have a lot with Right On. Simon can also ban to John. I don't need to convert it. I can show them Right On. I can go Simon to John. They block. I play Right On. I play Power of the Spirit. And if used by me, Kiro, I can discard up to X, evil and or neutral. So I can get, usually, I don't really bounce a lot in this deck. I just use them once or twice. So I'll usually have 3 Meeks down, and John tosses the next. So I just gained an inherent CBI, essentially, of a discard up to X. So I have really strong attacks. There's not a lot you can do about them. I can choose the blocker. I have no problem choosing the blocker. And playing Right On if for some reason I need to, but he's a 2-3, so. But there's a lot. Like, I'll do Simon to Saint Simon, Simon Peter to Saint Simon, and still play Right On to ensure that I'm going to blow up your whole defense and you can't touch it. Resurrection, same thing. It is a Very versatile card in the sense I can get out John and Peter. And I can play Resurrection. And I can band in draw a hero and get rid of something in your territory with that. And I can reveal a good dominant, which I'm going to usually have because I play heavy good dominants. So I don't need to convert Thaddeus to Meek. I can just keep him as is and shuffle evil or neutral card in your territory. John tosses next. I can go Peter to John, then play Resurrection. Negate everything. I do not need to negate enhancement, so I can once again, I don't need to convert him to Meek, and then I just band in Matthias. So you would have to have cannot be prevented banding because Andrew's going to negate your banding, and then I just bounce you, and John tosses the next thing you play. I don't have to play any enhancements for this, and I have it twice with Good Seed. So really, it's seeing other people and remembering how good Resurrection is, like what you can do with it. Remembering just, hey, it's really, really good to have initiative, especially against Saul. There's a lot of choose the hero going around right now. So you would have to choose my angels, assuming, like you can't choose Angel from the Sun because you pretty much know I'm going to go to reserve. Reassuring Angels is also tough to choose because I can go to discard. So really, you can choose Angel that wins and hope I don't have a Disciple in my deck. And once again, I have Good Seed to add to battle. So I wasn't playing a lot of Good Seed. And in a one territory class enhancement game testing, I want to get more resources than you. I want to be faster than you. I want to have different ways to gain resources. So Send the Helper did come out at first, and Entertaining Angels is a 52 card deck. And I had both Entertaining Angels and Send the Helper out, and it was at 50. First turn, I mean, really Entertaining Angels at almost any point is insane because I can essentially do, once again, a very sneaky way that a lot of people aren't playing. One, it's an additional way to Matthew turn one. And then two, it's still an interrupt. I can band in 3 angels if it's mid-game. And for mid-game for me, with all this stuff, it's turn 3. So I can band in my 3 angels. And what do you know? My 3 angels just became John, Andrew, Matthias. So I bounced you. I tossed the next. It's CBN. Or I do Bart, Andrew, Matthias. I still bounce you because I'm negating anything now. Convert, negate enhancements. You got to watch out, though. If you're negating Entertaining Angels, you still get your abilities kick in, but then you get kicked out. So you got to play that correctly. That's why a lot of times I just leave them as is, negate characters, and bring John in instead of Andrew. And I can go John, Matthias, and then have by the number enhancements. Or cannot be negated enhancements. So sneaky play. And that's another way to gather a lot of resources. I also like to band in Judas and Matthew too if I need to just replenish my hand. Or just Matthew, let's be real. And Entertaining Angels I always toy with. It's like, oh, I really want to play this card, but I don't, can't add it, stuff like that. Once again, it is a versatile card, not being played as much, that I can do a lot with. It goes right in with my offense. It's an interrupt. It's a grab a hero that can then grab any hero. It's extremely versatile in this build. And I had to see it used by others against me and be like, yeah, that can do a lot. And it's not being heavily used. I've seen it once. So, Good Seed in a one territory class meta. You go to Good Seed early on, and it's like, okay, that's my territory class enhancement this turn, which is fine. Usually I just go New Covenant into Good Seed, but maybe you can play it in battle. Easy to do. the games aren't over turn 2, turn 3 anymore. Like they at least go to turn 4 and 5. We're getting a lot more turns on average, period, in the game right now because of the one territory class enhancement, which is good. Let's be real. Those nativity decks, insane. So with good seed, I know I'm going to get value in general. And with all the choose the hero, instead of having wall of protection, which I really like, I can have good seed. Now I'm getting an additional card each upkeep, and I have the add to battle. So to me, that's really good. So now I have good seed and resurrection. And then what else? From a defensive standpoint, I say I pride myself on defense. Like I feel like I play a lot of defenses. I try out a lot. I'll always try to think ahead and how can I get the most out of a small defense, or how can I, if I'm going to have a bigger defense, just have a brick house. So this defense is all over the place, right? I don't like playing what everyone's playing, so I wanted to do something slightly different. And when you're in one territory class enhancement and you need to generate resources, and Emperor Claudius is so good right now, and you can grab Terrifying Beast with Wages or Clinging. It's super easy to go Beast to either Emperor or both, because you have Daenerys and you can grab Emperor with Clinging, whatever. So this is really good. I also, I try not to play what I was saying. I try not to play what everyone else is playing. There's a reason everyone's playing it. I know. You can throw Herod the Great in here, Herod Antipas, and you have Futile Inquisition. I call him Herod Antipasta. So you have your appetizer in there, and you got Duplicity with Herod the Great to choose the other rescuer as well. Get Herod's Temple for a first turn toss, and Duplicity, and then you have Antipas for Roman destroys, and he can take it, and Futile. So it's really good to have end the battle as a stalemate in both of them. That can go in here, and it was originally, and I have to get the deck down, and ultimately I put a Herod the Great in battle, and Jeremy was able to toss through him. And I put Herod the Great in battle another time, and they were able to get around. So as good as he is, he will get you a block. I just don't like the idea of really only having a Duplicity to back him up. So he came out, and I focused on other things instead. Josh P. and I played, and he was playing Beast and Domitian, which I've always spoke about this. I had an entire video of a Roman Pharisee defense that was just sheer hand control. It was very, very good. So I took an aspect of that. When you can just discard a character and they got to underdeck a card of Matching Brigade, a lot of times I'm going to target your Judas if I don't have Distressed out. I'm going to target your Saul. Absolutely target your Saul. Or your Herod. Any of them. And make you waste some. Assuming Herod's Temple is negated or gone. Not out yet, whatever. So, and if all your guys are protected, well, Saul's Axe. So Herod's Temple, I know I could always hit Saul. It's usually my number one target on Beast because everything that Saul has is in the reserve. A lot of people don't have, not a lot. There's people that don't really play a lot of gray and Saul's splashed in. Or they don't want to limit their gray. Or they don't have a bunch of enhancements. So I Terrifying Beast and I discard Saul. And then they have to underdeck one of their enhancements. And that just puts me, they literally just had to get rid of an evil card when I'm blocking them. That's really good. And then I bring in Domitian. I could also hit their character in battle too. And then, except a Roman, I'm sorry. He's a Roman, so I can't hit Saul. I'll be honest, whoops. I'll just leave it at that. Once again, art of losing. You think you can do that and you go in, you do that against someone. Oopsies. So he can't kill Saul. Dang it. Um, wish I could just edit that out at this point, and then I could sound good, right? So anyway, there's plenty to hit with Terrifying Beast, and Josh P was going Terrifying Beast, targeting my character in battle, and it's like, okay, I get special initiative, and I have to play something, or it's like it's CBN, you're pretty much underdecking a card, and then you just go in with Domitian, and I'm just revealing a card to banish you, and once again you have to discard a card of matching. There is nothing I have to do here, and I just got rid of two of your hero. I got rid of a hero, a character, cards in your hand, whatever. No cost to me. Like, that's insane. That's very, very, very good. So the other aspect I take is both Saul. Like, what can Saul take from the reserve, and what's really good to take from the reserve. So Clinging to Power also gets Gathering. So a lot of times I'll have Gathering, or Saul will have Gathering. My favorite, and I've showed this before, where I go Terrifying Beast to Domitian. It's your special initiative, or your initiative, or you lost cards in your hand, and then I interrupt, and a lot of people are not doing this play from what I'm seeing, and I get to take a New Testament human from reserve, and then I take my New Testament human, and then I get the ban to any number of Pharisees and Sadducees. So I banned in entrapping, and once again I reveal a New Testament gray card, which I get so much value, and I don't need to really do anything. I'm like, oh, here's my New Testament gray card, and then I capture you. So even if you play something, I interrupt and I capture you, and then your thing doesn't go on if you're gone. Like if I captured the sole hero in battle. And that's also CBN. And I could also bring in Saul, because he's a Pharisee. So, and then I get to be protected from the next enhancement, or draw two, or take, whatever. So, really good right now. I have the black-gray. I don't care to just throw in Goliath, but with some of these bans and Bethany Trio that I'm seeing, it's like, okay, just get them out of here. Like, just withdraw you, and I still have enhancements. Both Josh P and Jeremy have Goliath, and it's just a constant reminder, yep, it's still Goliath. Yep, he's still really good. So, and when you can play your black-gray enhancements, yeah, Daniel the Michael might kill you, but I push out Daniel the Michael. So, a lot of this deck has changed because I've lost games. Like trying to be cute with David, Jehu, Joshua. Like it changed my attacks against Jeremy, where, yeah, I still misplayed, but it changed my attacks to where I have to go David to Joshua, and I'm trying to get Jehu, and now I just have a David in battle, and none of my enhancements work on him. Like, I don't get any interrupt because he's not a New Testament or a Meek. So, and he's red, purple instead of clay. So I don't get any of my interrupts on him. I don't get any of my clay enhancements, and my deck wasn't fully meshing. And I wasted rescues. And you can't waste rescues against top players. Like, period. You're going to lose. So, I swapped up the deck to where even in a choose the hero, like a lot of choose the hero meta, look at the meta right now. You're going up against protection. When I showed this deck to Derek Torado, he was like, and Love One Another wasn't in there. He was like, what are you doing? Because I either had Eye on It or Eternal Inheritance, because it's so good at the very end with Simon. And he was right. I was like, well, I figure I have enough interrupts and negates and battle winners, dominance in general, to get around protection. But that's not the case. Why not have, regardless of protect, just destroy everything that I can have CBN and play first? So that came in. It's also way easier to get because Send the Helper and New Covenant and Good Seed, the other cards, Eye on It and Eternal Inheritance, I have to get with Send the Helper, which is still fine, but I have to get with Send the Helper, and I have to get with Good Seed. So anything that's a gospel card is just easier for me to get because of Lord's Prayer, New Covenant. So I'm able to get love one another easier. And it's a regardless of protect. And look at all the Herods and Emperors being used right now. A lot of protection. Foreign wives. I do a lot of drawing. You block me with foreign wives, and I have Spirit as a Dove and Lord's Prayer, usually in hand, one of them. And I go to love one another, and usually don't have much. I am he. That's for like a bulletproof attack at the end, or it's a fully protected. Lost souls are protected. Huge band of disciples. Not a huge band, but like I can go Simon Peter to Andrew and have a by the numbers protected band. That's really, really, really good with a good seed to add to battle, and my guys work. So, and lost souls are protected. So really good there too. That was something that I saw I wanted, I think is really, really good. And maybe that comes out. But I got blocked by dominance. And there's stuff at the end where it's like I couldn't do everything I wanted in a rescue because I was worried about dominance, where I was going to get dom blocked. And I had to choose my rescues. So I was like, I am he needs to be back in here because I'm getting dom blocked when I have 3 or 4 lost souls. And I need to get that last lost soul. And I know they have a Falling Away or a Christian Martyr. So it's fine to lose. If you're losing with the same deck over and over and over, if you're not making edits, that's on you. If you're losing to the same person and you guys are both playing the same deck, I'm just going to say that's deck matchup and maybe make another deck to play them. You know, you guys are both going to be better players that way. If you're stuck on your deck saying like, this is the best deck, I love this thing, and you're consistently losing and you're still making edits, like that's fine, keep playing it. Just know maybe, hey, what's like, where am I getting stuck? Ask for deck advice. A lot of people try to hide their ideas and not ask for advice. I think the community has really changed over the last few years of just being way more transparent. So you can easily go into you can just message people. I get messages all the time. Hey, what do you think about this? Like, hey, here's my deck list. Where what do you see? Reach out to people. I'm sure Jaden gets more questions. Jeremy, Jay, Josh, you name it. Anyone with a J, John, like anyone with a J gets a bunch of deck questions, I'm sure. So reach out. Hey, I've been losing to this offense I really like. I'm beating other defenses, but thieves are killing me, for example. Like, even though I have hand protection, like they can prevent it and take it, whatever. So reach out if you're having a tough time. And then if you're getting whooped by offenses, it's time to think differently. I had a chump defense where this originally is called chump block. And that's what I played against Jeremy, where it was Suicidal Swine and DOU. Because I just don't see those being played. I don't see a lot of orphan souls being used. Or just protection and lost souls in general. And I thought, hey man, that's really good to play right now. I can just do. I also had Death down, so I had King Jehu to the Bethany trio with Death. Like your hand's at 7. I can get rid of almost half your hand in a rescue. It's really good. So I really liked it, but Jeremy, even like I lost and I never played Swine Stampede or Death. And he goes, yeah, I feel like if you're playing those cards, you have to play Wicked and Humble. And I didn't have either of those lost souls. So I didn't even get to play what the defense was originally built on. So it got scrapped, and I had lost to other people, and a lot of this defense is getting played. I said, well, I need another interrupt. Another way to get in Saul and entrapping is really good. An interrupt 2 entrapping is really good. Another enhancement for Saul to grab. And I can ban to their Pharisees and Sadducees if they're playing them, which they're also seeing play. And It's black-gray. So even though the band's negated, like I have an XX, it's not great. Yeah, that's probably a bad example. Don't worry about that. But like to ban to commonly used defenses and interrupting what they play and then capturing, making you do something in response is really good. So I will run through to just show you the consistency in my attacks. I say this every video. I really need to just change it to a draw 8, and I just don't bother. So I immediately look at stars. Stars. Protect all decks and reserves from opponents. So I can do anything I want. And my deck and your deck are protected during the battle phase. Reserve doesn't matter because it's turn 1. I want your deck to be protected, and mine if you lawless or anything. Like if I don't have souls or just any sort of soul gen in general. Like Stricken's really good for turn 1, so I would want to play Stricken. This is all defense. This is in no way normal of a hand. If you look back at what the defense is, and you look at the evil, like 6 enhancements, 7 evil characters. We have 3 evil characters, 3 enhancements. But guess what? We still got our Angel of the Winds because there's 3 angels that can go to Matthew plus Patmos and anything else. So a game I played against Josh P. Thought I had a really good deck, and I could not get around. I usually get myself a draw 4 off turn 1 with Matthew. I thought I had a really good deck, and I couldn't get around Judas. He slams Judas first turn. I can't draw. He can. Like, I had to find ways around Judas. And there's no reason not. There's not no reason, but it's very hard pressed to not have Judas in a deck. He straight up said, he was like, I use Judas, Herod the Great, and Herod's Temple. Like, those 3 cards start every single one of my decks, and I go from there. Knowing Josh, he usually goes to Virgin Birth and then continues on, but he's not wrong. Like Herod the Great with Herod's Temple, phenomenal turn 1, and it gets your Herod's Temple out for your offense too. And Judas is that good. So I go to Matthew, and we have some stuff to use. Now I could Resurrection to John. I could Resurrection to Peter, and I wouldn't do that just yet. There's not too much value there. I am a 4/6, so I feel like I would have initiative to go to Lord's Prayer. And I like to get Baptism of Jesus turn 1. Because I have the negate, the draw 2, and the banish. Now it's an exchange. I played the last. If for some reason it was a stalemate, they'd be able to play something. If not, I have 2 cards here to play off turn 1 to try to negate and banish you, and I still have the negate to back it up, unless you just had a Christian Martyr. Nine cards in hand, and I'd probably show them Pilot. Don't want to show them Goliath first turn. Don't want to show him Terrifying Beast. Show him Pilot where I don't have another Roman down, so he doesn't work. He still gets the withdraw heroes except 1, but he doesn't get the exchange. And right now, I can't really exchange too much anyway. And it does help if you're attacking and you put down Judas. He does scare off the Judas if you're trying to play Clay. So keep Terrifying Beast in hand and Goliath. Usually at turn 1, I'm just going to block with Goliath, and you're going to have another hero. And I have enough here to back up that, I think. So we draw 3. Look at our stars. Top deck a good dominant from deck. We're going to go to New Covenant, and we're going to go to Reserve for Good Seed. So if we top deck a good dominant, we're going to draw it with John the Fisherman. And I think that's what you do. Because we could send the Helper and go right back to Matthew as well. And we can get the draw off Matthew with Matthias and John off Resurrection. So we got to understand: do I want to top deck a good dominant from deck? Like, what am I going to do? Is there a reason for me to just show them that I don't have this dominant in my hand, or do I just know, hey, I'm gonna bounce Matthew and rescue with Matthew, and then not show them that I'm lacking a dominant? Or you can show them, hey, I needed Son of God, knowing that I have 3 dominants in my hand, whatever. So there's a lot to think of. I'm not going to do any stars. Upkeep, ready? Finger, 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 finger. Nothing says upkeep. Nothing is out here. Okay, did my stars, did my upkeep. We're going to flip Matt. And then now I'm going to get a Matthew, and I still get my good seed out. I do not have anything to back up Matthew unless I draw into it. But guess what? I have Angel. I get to take something and play it immediately if I want from Send the Helper. And I have Resurrection, where I can band in John, draw 2, and bounce you. So you have to block with protection, or you have to block with more than one evil character. So I flip. Let's give them 3 this time. And I get to take a good enhancement from reserve, take good seed. If you block, that's where I would play. Depending on what you have, what's really nice is if you have 2 evil characters, like I'll play Angel on 1 if I want, or I'd wait, and I just let them know I'm playing a Dom. You don't have to ask for an ish. You just play the Resurrection. Like, they block. Let's say they block with Saul, and they grab Unsuccessful. That's one of your most common plays right now for turn 2, right? You block with Saul. You grab Unsuccessful. I play Resurrection. I get to take a card from deck. This is a draw 2, people. This is a draw 2, ban 3, which can then do more. I can take John or Peter or Herod's Temple. And I can play. So I'll play Herod's Temple. Shuffle that up. And now I get to band 3. 1, 2, 3. And the first one we're going to do is Peter's last because he bans. So we want to do John's first. You may reveal a good dominant from hand. And we'll show them Angel. And we'll draw 2. We do not want to show them right on because they assume we have Angel. It's seeing a lot more play right now. They assume we have Angel. They don't assume we have right on. And now I can discard a card to draw 2. The only thing I'm even thinking about here is Spirit as a Dove. And I'll go ahead and discard that to draw 2. It's just not matching up. Hope that doesn't annoy you guys. Okay, so, and now I decide, do I want to create more Soul Gen? Depends on how I feel, what's out there. Majority of the time, it's always situational, but it's gonna be me, and that's really what I'm looking for. I was trying to use Patmos to get Judas anyway. A lot of ways to Judas in this deck, and see ya. So I grab Judas, and then Galileans I can exchange, and right now I can't use Clinging, right? I think I already used one territory class. Let's see. Resurrection, Angel. I moved Good Seed to there. I did Send the Helper. I did not play a territory class. So, because I'm deciding, do I want to send Clinging to Power into deck and grab something else for it? Or do I want to play Clinging Power to give me another card? Ultimately, I'm going to want to play Good Seed. So I'm not going to be able to use this unless it's in battle. My characters don't really get initiative. So I'm going to swap Clinging for Power, exchange an Evil New Testament card from hand with an Evil New Testament card of Matching Brigade from deck. So now I get a gray card. I have Terrifying Beast, so we can get our Emperors going. I also have Daenerys and Clinging to Power to get your Emperors, so more than likely take Saul here. And then I go Harvest and I token you. And then I go to Simon Peter, who converts to play a good New Testament Fortress from deck. I don't have a good New Testament Fortress in deck now that I played Herod's Temple with the Resurrection. So I don't need to Meekify him. I don't have any reason to. So I would just keep him as is and ban to a Disciple. And that puts down Judas and also gives me a draw 2. So I did their abilities. And then I still have Matthias. And he would convert to Bounce You, which would give you special initiative, but it's tossed. And then I would get to look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's also why you want to use Peter to give you that extra, because he looks for disciples. So I get to reveal to me the top 5, and I get to take 1. I have Herod's Temple down, so I can take Andrew. I have 14 cards in hand. I'm going to get down a lot, but I don't want to take another enhancement right now. So I'd probably show them Andrew under deck, yeah. So I was talking to Demon Hunter. He likes Matthias in the reserve. Completely agree. Matthias is still a draw 1, or it's I have a Lost Soul as my next card, I underdeck it. Or do I want that Lost Soul and take it, play it, So he's still a look and do what you want. First turn, it's not great, but I really like the abilities of being able to ban him in so easily turn 2. So now if you did have 2 evil characters, once again, I have no problem. I got a lot of value on that rescue. Playing 2 Doms, I don't care. Ideally, no, you don't want to Resurrection and Angel of the Lord. But that is fine. So now we have 14 in hand. We have Herod's Temple down. Put down our art. We do get to play Good Seed. We didn't play anything yet. Patmos, and we can take whoever we want here. Probably Bart. And now we have Good Seed going for next turn. I created a token, so I'd probably just Son of God, whatever I needed, assuming they gave me the token. If they have like a Humble or a Distressed, I like to get rid of those. 4, 8, 9, 10. I like to keep heroes in my hand. But right now, like, they know I have Saul. He's not protected, so I don't like putting him down. But people will forget who you took every time, or they absolutely will forget. So it'd be their turn. And now it's a matter of I can choose. I can discard. I can choose. I can Goliath. I can Saul. There's a lot to do here just on characters alone. Like, I can manipulate the battle in a lot of different ways. So I can Terrifying Beast and discard a character in your territory, or make you go to hand, and then go to Saul and get a matching. Most of the time, people just grab unsuccessful, or they just go Saul unsuccessful. Like, that's usually your attack. Like, honestly, I just go Saul unsuccessful, because then you have to waste enhancements. Like, you have 11 cards in hand more than likely. You took one from reserve, whatever you did. You have 12 cards in hand, maybe more. Maybe you attacked and drew a bunch. You could have 14 cards in hand, and I go Saul unsuccessful. Like, that is so successful. Like, you have to get rid of so much. You either have to put down a lot, which is to my advantage, or you have to discard, which is even more to my advantage. So usually what you do, no need to get cute. Always take the block. It's just as a general rule of thumb. Now, once you get into more, like, I guess you say, advanced gameplay, there's times of I could give this soul up, but I can get a lot of value from this block, or I know I have a guaranteed block here, But if I block this way, I get a lot of value and I save that block for later. I've done that before. I've been on the receiving end, good and bad. Same with Jaden. I know he'll say before, like he's had videos where he's like, yeah, I try to get too much value. So it's a mitigated risk, calculated, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Now we go into upkeep, remember. So we looked at our stars, nothing. Upkeep. Look at all your stuff. We know we put down an upkeep here, and we know we have an upkeep here, and 3 woes hasn't been played. So I know I have 2 upkeeps. I would probably upkeep harvest, give them a lost soul, and then I go into upkeep and I take. I'm probably going to take I Am He. I played Son of God. I more than likely rescued 2, so really I'm just going for the kill here. So we're good on upkeep. I like putting my Imitate in Patmos, to be honest. And now I can still play a territory class. If I go I don't have my Angel from the Sun. It's in my deck. I could go bounce Matthew and go Simon to Matthew. Draw and have a ton there. That's really good. I could go Simon to Bart and play right on. Also really good. And I get to take a level one another with Send the Helper if I want to bounce. So I think it's one of 2 things. I think I bounce Matthias and I go, I play I Am He and I show them woes, and I'll leave that to the side because it's Lost Souls and Disciples are protected from evil cards and harm. I have my Add to Battle. I'm protected. Lost Souls are protected. And I go Simon, and now I'm probably going to want more Meek here for Awesome Ride and for X equals, if used by a Meek, and I have X equals Meek. So I probably would want to go Meek here. Sometimes I like to leave purple in battle when I'm banding because High Priest and Ananias. So you just got to think, like, what are they playing? Are they playing black? Then you might not need Simon to be Meek. And you might need him purple. And then you band in with Bart. And you go this way. So it's whatever you want. And now I have Send the Helper. I get to grab Love One Another. And depending on how you block, I then get to play right on. And when I go right on, I have a CBN, Love One Another. Once again, if you had protection here, then I just play Love One Another, and that's CBN. It's your Meek cards, so I could have 2. I could have had 3, depending on what I did with Simon there. And they are converted or bounced, depends on what they are. It's CBN. I'm protected. There's not a lot you can do there except for grapes. Right, Rob? So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just going to play some characters, get our hand down, and 9 cards in hand. We really like that entertaining because even at the end when you have your 3 angels, you can still go entertaining angels, band in your 3 angels, and go this massive band that tosses the next, makes it by the numbers and bounces you. So it's also really good. We can get cute here if we want. Discard you, choose you, kill you. We can Goliath to kill. We're really trying to lure out an Angel Lord. If you control a Meek hero, draw 2. Remember, we go immediately to upkeep. Upkeep. Nothing there. And now if we want the bounce or not, we can. We could 4 drachma on Peter. 1, 2, 3, 4. We do have Second Coming. We can go clean the power if we want. Doesn't really matter. And then we can bounce Bart. And yeah, and we go to, assuming we didn't get the last lost soul already. Now we don't have protection, but we do have good seed. I was hoping for Angel from the Sun. Go figure. We could draw out their Angel Lord or their Christian Martyr. We can get rid of something in territory that we don't like. Once again, it could be Saul because he's not protected from Herod's temple. Some people forget. Some people also forget that he's a Roman. So, and that terrifying beast doesn't discard him. Get rid of Saul, attack. If they have Christian Martyr, then you good seed. If not, entertaining angels, you get out Angel from the Sun. And then he swaps with territory. He's deck, discard, or hand. And he's just deck. So that's why we kept Matthias. So we get the swap. And we get the territory as well. So we can bring in Simon first. So he goes to territory. Reassuring goes to hand. Simon, we can make him Meek, Bandon, John, and guess what? We get the draw 2, and Matthias bounces you. So I still have a Choose the Blocker, Untouchable, Great Commission, 3 woes left. I like to get out Pretension with Saul as well. I still have Battle Winners. I still have Clinging to Power to get Battle Winners and Wages to get Battle Winners. So it's taking a normal defense that's seeing play, brings in Goliath because of the black-gray, and brings in Clinging to Power, Gathering the Sanhedrin to ban to their Saul if you don't have yours out. It doesn't need to be used by anything. It's just take a New Testament human from reserve. It's an interrupt, and I get to ban. And there's a lot of Pharisees and Sadducees being played, particularly this guy. If they blow up yours or you keep yours in hand, you ban to theirs, and you still get your Entrapping Pharisee, interrupt what they play, capture them, especially after a Beast and a Domitian. That is sneaky, not being used. Extremely good. So, yeah, that's it. Just try to think. I always try to push outside the box, even if you're playing the Swiss, the meta, if you're playing the cookie cutter stuff. Play good cards, Dominants are the best cards in the game. Use them the best. Lose. How do I get better? What did I lose to? What stopped me defensively? We should know right now what's being played defensively. If you need to be able to get around Saul, Goliath, choose the hero, Herods. You need to be able to get around protection. Period. Emperors and Herods are all over the place. So get around that defense. Make other people adjust. Like you adjust to them and they don't know what's coming. So I think that's everything. This is a longer video, but that's good, right? I don't know. So thank you all for stopping by and listening to Tyler Talks. And I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.